And now it's Boomer Life. Lifestyle ideas designed to make your life more engaging, meaningful, and complete. Celebrating the baby boomer generation, this is Boomer Life with Sterling Fox.
Well, hello. Welcome to Boomer Life here on AM 650. On the program today, we're going to talk about retirement living with the folks from Revera Retirement Living. Always a pleasure to welcome Lydia Miller back to the program. Lydia is the Regional Director of Sales for British Columbia for Revera. And from Parkwood Manor in Hello, Lydia.
Hi, Sterling.
Hi.
Hugs.
Okay. And also from Parkwood Manor, which is Revera's Coquitlam community, Deborah Morgan is back with us. Deborah is a lifestyle consultant at Parkwood. Deb, hi.
Hi, nice to be here again.
Well, nice to see you again. How's life at Parkwood these days?
Life at Parkwood is always happening.
Mm-hmm.
There's always lots to do, and people really enjoy the community a lot.
How many residents, how many members of the community at Parkwood?
We have 140 suites, so our members, their community varies dramatically depending on how many couples we have.
Right.
So we usually fluctuate in the 130 sort of range.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just depends on how many couples we have.
And they're actually extended family as opposed to residents, right?
Okay,
Very
well, and
much
that's fair comment. Now, you, speaking of extended families, have rather a large one because you're in charge of British Columbia. How many Revera communities are there in our province?
Well, I actually help 9 buildings in BC from Kelowna to White Rock, Surrey, Coquitlam there, Kerrisdale, 3 in Victoria, and West Vancouver, Hollyburn House. So wide range.
You're off the hook there.
Oh,
That was darn close, wasn't it?
I know.
How would you describe Parkwood Manor, Deb, in terms of a retirement community? Is it independent living? Is it extended care? There are all these terms that keep getting thrown around, and by way of getting our heads around where you work and the people we're going to meet in the next hour, what type of community is Parkwood?
Well, thank you for asking that question because a lot of people actually get the terminology of communities very mixed up.
Absolutely.
So
It's all designed by marketers to confuse you.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's working on me, I'll tell you, which is why I'm right off the bat with that question for Deb.
Yeah. So Parkwood Manor is an independent community, but I would describe it more of a supportive environment versus a care or an assisted living environment.
Okay.
So we have residents who are very active, who can walk across the street to the mall, who still have their cars and still drive. I mean, we're on a beautiful 3.5 acres, so they can actually walk around our building around that 3.5 acres. So very active.
And the mall that you referred to is Coquitlam Center, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So that's by way of identifying what we're talking about here on the radio tonight, friends. It's Parkwood Manor in Coquitlam, right near Coquitlam. It's all the trees in that area, right just down from Coquitlam Center, isn't
That's
it?
a very good description.
Mm-hmm. And it's
I guess the main classification, if you will, for identifying independent living versus assisted is you need to be able to self-ambulate, right? So it's like you can get from one room to the next on your own.
Okay.
Is a requirement for independent living.
Mm-hmm.
Very simple, right? And a lot of people think that assisted living is where we feed you, we cook, we clean, but that's all part of independent living and just relieving all those nasty chores from the seniors that they would have to do themselves.
And what about though when you require a little bit of assistance in addition to the sort of basic housekeeping that you were talking about, Lydia? What if someone needs assistance getting in and out of the bath or remembering to take his or her meds every day, requiring just an extra layer of care. How does that get defined?
That's actually assisted living.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's probably just light services. And there is a classification and licensing requirements in BC. So I do have 3 buildings that have assisted living and certified for that. But it's med management, it's queuing, it's helping with those nasty elastic stockings in the morning, for instance, or escorting to meals or the dining room, or just being a companion.
Right.
Just very light services for assisted living. And that's all that is. And you can order in those services from other home care providers.
Oh, I see. And so
So-
you can do that at Parkwood, for example, Deb. If you require that extra little bit of assistance, you can literally import it then.
Very much so. We have multiple companies who are already in Parkwood Manor and are offering a little bit of support for people. How I look at it is if they were in their own home, what would they do?
Right.
And
right.
it's the same thing because Parkwood Manor is their home.
Mm-hmm.
So if they need a little bit of extra help, they would do it in their own home so they could do it in our environment,
Yeah.
but it allows them a lot more freedom. How I look at retirement living and independent living is particularly for ladies, they finally get to retire. They don't have to worry about the cooking and the cleaning.
All
and
right.
And the shopping
Yeah.
and the laundry
The
and
endless
groceries.
domestic duties, huh?
Yeah, the gardening.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and even bathing assist is categorized as assisted living, unless you need, the full lifts, but that's a different animal.
Okay. So now talk to us a little bit. You're the lifestyle consultant out there at Parkwood Manor. Talk to us about, because the Revera commercial that we run in the mornings on AM 650.
Don't you love it?
I do. I do. And one of the lines from one of the people in the ad is a woman who sounds like she's trying to be convinced to consider a retirement living option, and she says something like, "They're going to lock me up and throw away the key." So speak to that, if you would, please, because the ad certainly does. Nothing could be further from the truth, but you only got 30 seconds in the ad. You have a little more than that here, Deb. So talk to us about this whole business of if I go to one of those places, I forfeit my independence.
Actually, it's probably completely the opposite. People have more freedom and more flexibility than they do have in their home. They can go to a fitness class. They can go to the movies. They can come down and enjoy music because people are singing in the lounge. We have people that play the piano at Parkwood, and a lot of people just sit down and start playing and singing. They can go to the mall. They have a lot more independence, a lot more freedom than they actually believe they have. It's so amazing how many people, after a very short period of time, sometimes even a few weeks, will actually say, "This is not what I thought."
Right.
And
Yeah.
you provide transportation too, and you bring in entertainers, at no additional cost to the residents.
No. Recently, I had a gentleman come, and he was coming to try us out for 2 weeks.
Okay. The trial stay.
Trial stay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he came, and after the first week, I said, "So, how are we doing?" And he said, "Oh, I'm just here for 2 weeks. I'm not staying." And I said, "Okay, no problem." And so the guys at his table were saying, "He's going to stay, I said, "Well, he tells me he's going to go back to his house." And his daughter's calling me going, "Oh, please, please, I want my dad to stay." I said, "It's up to him."
Of course.
The day before he was supposed to move out, he comes into my office and says, "Do I really have to go home tomorrow?" And I said, "No, do you not want to go home?" He goes, "No, can I stay?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Can I stay in the room that I'm in right now?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "But I have to get my furniture in, and I'm supposed to go tomorrow, and I can't make this all happen." I said, "Don't worry about it. It's okay. You can stay, and when your family can organize, we'll take our furniture out and put yours in." So a week later, his family was there with the moving trucks, moving him in. And he
Wow.
never actually left that suite. He's still there.
Isn't that
Loving
something?
it. Yeah.
And just it took him a week or 10 days or so to finally figure it all out, because it's not going to happen in a heartbeat. It's going to take a while, which
And
is
you're not
why,
a captive.
which is why you recommend and always have, Lydia, a 2-week stay, a 1-week minimum, and 2-week preferred to really give it a chance to grow on you or not. And you just need to take time, and nothing substitutes
That's right.
for time.
To meet the rest of the family, try the different meals, the different options, because it's not like you get wings and beaners every day. What did I say?
Wings and beaners.
Wings and beaners.
Oh, that's a good one.
We get the idea. The cuisine is somewhat elevated compared to what some of us might imagine. How about we put it that way?
Thank you. Yes.
No
Yes.
problem at all. You brought some guests with us. Tell us about the people we're going to meet over the balance of the hour. Deb, who's up first?
Well, Gwen and her daughter Anita are up first.
Okay.
And Gwen is a lovely lady with a great personality, and she actually lived not far from Parkwood Manor, and she was actually bringing her children in saying, "I want to move in here."
Oh my, okay.
And she was actually a bit struggling because she had stairs in her home, and her stairs were an issue.
Oh, okay.
And she was struggling to get down the stairs to actually get out, so her children were having to support her. So what happened as a result of her moving in is her children actually now can go on vacation and not have to worry about mom.
Sure.
Mom's actually gotten stronger because she's walking more than she ever walked in her home.
Right.
So she's really grown since she's moved
Made
into
new
Parkwood.
friends.
Yeah, she has.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so so Gwen and her daughter Anita are first, and then who's coming along a little later on?
Lynn after that.
All right.
Totally different story there.
Oh, okay.
Totally
So we have
different.
one person who is a retirement community resident who's darn tickled to be there. Thank you very much. And then perhaps we're going to flip the coin and hear about trying to get a somewhat reluctant person to become a retirement community resident, correct?
Well, actually, her mom and dad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a couple.
All right.
And they were not coming. There was no way. And I had been talking to them for probably close to 2 years, and there was no way they were coming. And she actually kind of tricked them and had them come for a 1-month stay. And her mom put her through a lot.
Oh, okay. Well,
But they're still there.
She's gonna share a few stories with you.
Well, I'm looking forward to both their stories, and it's always nice to see the two of you again. So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll carry on here on Boomer Life with our friends from Revera and from Parkwood Manor in Coquitlam, including a member of that family and her daughter. Right after this quick time out on Boomer Life. Stay with us.
Canada's only weekly radio show dedicated to the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on AM 650.